What's up, everybody, and welcome to the very first episode of the Lioness Lair. I'm the queen of the proud, Valerie Bordeaux, and joining me tonight is Lady Lionor of Douchebagia, part of my royal court here. And this show is all about uh, dedicated to the female fan, whether you're a casual fan or you're a diehard fan. We're here to have a ladies' night, so grab your favorite beverage, grab your favorite snacks, and come hang out with us and talk some football. So this is all but for you now, guys. You're more than welcome here too. This is not a girls only club. We just ask that you be respectful in the comments, please. Be on your best gentlemanly behavior because this is not singles night. So Lady Lionor, why don't you tell us what's been going on around the league? Why don't you tell us what's happened so far today?
Well, football is back, and I'm so excited. It was such a good weekend. We had division matchups. All started Thursday night, Rams Bills. Probably everybody saw it. Certainly Lions fans because of Matthew Stafford. And man, Bills came to play. You know, a lot of people thought this could be a potential Super Bowl preview. And the Bills look like it may be, and the Rams really not. I felt bad for Stafford. I don't know if you guys saw it, but he had a really great tackle after his third interception.
Yeah, but he's still dealing with that injury, with that tendonitis or elbow injury too, though.
He is. And, you know, his movements are so familiar to us as Lions fans. We watched him for so long. You could tell, especially when he was passing underneath, his passing motion looked a little bit wonky. It did look like it was bothering him. And he's not so young anymore. This could really end up being a chronic problem for him. But
maybe
good for the Bills.
We've seen him before in all kinds of situations. We did see him at one point in his life tear up his shoulder and get back up and, get a touchdown. So
yes, he was a lot younger then, though. He's not so young anymore.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens throughout the year. It's still only week 1, guys.
It is. Yeah. And week 1 is so funny. Absolutely anything can happen. Teams haven't really developed their identities yet. So, yeah, we don't need to overreact to anything that happened week 1. Yeah. So then today we had a really great slate of games. I was really looking forward to the Baker Mayfield revenge game versus the Browns. Fortunately, they couldn't pull it out. Browns won it 26-24. Some, in my opinion, uninteresting games. Jags played the Commies. Commies win it 28-22.
Commies.
Not a huge. I'm Chickasaw. I'm American Indian. I won't call them the Commanders. I just won't do.
We're going to call
on
them
principle.
We can call them Commandos. You know, they're going Commando.
Commandos. They're just Washington. That's all they are. But yeah, the Ravens played the Jets, and that went just about how you'd expect. The Ravens won it 24-9. Let's see. Titans and Giants just got done watching that one. And besides Daniel Jones getting sacked 5 times, which I don't know what that means. I don't know if it means the O-line is really, really bad for New York, or if it means that Tennessee's front 7 is actually good. It's probably the former, honestly. But at the very end, Dable decided to go for it. They were down by 1, went for the 2-point conversion to win. Giants took home the win 21-20. So good for them.
Yeah, that was a very interesting ending to that game. That shocked the Titans immensely.
Well, and just it was the Giants. Just not much is expected out of them. You wouldn't think they would be a team that's needs this first week win so badly that they would go for 2. But good, it worked out for him. If it hadn't worked out, they'd be calling for Dable's head. But since it worked out, he's a hero. So
you know what? I wanted Dable for the Bears, to be the coach of the Bears. But so I kind of like him. So to make that move, that was a move that he would do.
Yeah. Let's see. We had Chiefs Cardinals. That also went about how you'd expect, given that the Cardinals quarterback has to have study time built into his contract. That was 44-21 to the Chiefs. Then we had a bunch of division games. The AFC, every division had a division game today. So starting in the North, the Steelers beat the Bengals 23-20. Again, week 1, don't overreact. But you need to win those division games if you're planning to go to the Super Bowl and you know that the Bengals fandom thinks they're going back this year.
Yeah, so that was not but the Steelers, start. they're not gonna win against the Steelers. Come on. Really.
I kind of think the Steelers suck this year. I'm not impressed with the Steelers at
They
all.
might, but they're still better than the Bengals. Come on, yeah. It doesn't take much to be better than the Bengals. Okay.
Yeah. I don't have the Bengals winning their division or anything, but I have them going to the playoffs. And they're not one of the teams that got worse this offseason. They finally addressed their O-line issues. About time. I actually thought they had a shot, and they still do because it's week 1 and we don't want to overreact here. AFC South. Oh my goodness. This may have been the worst game of the week. Colts Texans went to overtime, ended in a 20-20 tie. I
Oh
mean,
no.
just two teams nobody cares anything about. Although the Colts will probably win that division. So AFC East, oh, my best football buddy is a Patriots fan, and I promised I would not be rude about the Patriots, but McDaniel's newly revamped Dolphins team took them down 20-7. And actually, the first,
Yay.
I know, I don't want to, I can't clap. The first,
I'll clap for you again. I'll clap for you.
thank you. The first 10 minutes, they looked okay. Mac Jones seemed to be in a rhythm. And, I didn't see that whole game. It was on the same time as our game. I was watching the Lions. Somebody at the end said Mac Jones had an x-ray and it was negative. So I don't know if he got injured or if he was sidelined for a little bit, or maybe he just took a hard hit and continued playing until the end of the game. But if there is injury concerns with Mac Jones, it sounds like he's going to be fine. AFC West. So me personally, this is a crazy division that will probably devolve into chaos throughout the season. This is the first time I can remember where you may actually have 4 teams that could all make the playoffs if Oakland can get their O-line and secondary issues worked out. Because all preseason long, I was saying Oakland's O-line is bottom 5. I stand by it. It's not good. Even Devontae Adams and Derek Carr, they played in college together. They should have a great rapport. And I didn't see a lot of that game, but the fact that the Chargers won it 24-19, the Chargers are a little questionable too. So that was a great matchup though, because that's going to be a fun division. So just out of curiosity, Val, who you got winning that division? Because everyone gives a different answer. We got Chiefs, Chargers, Broncos, or Raiders.
That's difficult. Going off of just what popped in my head first, probably the Chiefs.
Any reason why?
No, not in particular, but I just, out of the 4, that would be the one to me that would make the most sense. And
they're my pick too, just because of the chip Mahomes has on his shoulder and that whole team, given how they exited the season last year.
Let's just hope it's not the Broncos, because good God, no.
I'm so excited for the Broncos with Russell Wilson this year because it's a huge question mark for me. It could be a disaster and they could end up at the bottom of the division, or they could win it all with him. I have no idea how it's going to go. So it'll be fun to watch them this season. AFC South, we had the Saints and Falcons. That one didn't quite go how I thought it was going to go. I thought the Saints might destroy a pretty bad Falcons team. Yeah, 27-26. Saints still won it, but not by as much as you think. Then we have some games of interest to us. First one being Niners at the Chicago Bears. And I thought the Bears were going to be so bad this year. Still kind of do. I didn't watch that game because normally kind of boring. So Val, Bears fan, anything to say about this game? Because I don't really know what happened.
I didn't get to watch it because it wasn't available in this area, but I did get to see some of the recaps and stuff. And I know that Justin Fields threw an interception. It was pretty sloppy. Soldier Field was as fun as always because they went and put in new turf a couple of days ago. Now all these storms came through and they were literally shoveling water with snow shovels off the field before the game. So that was fun in itself. One of our guys, 91, got a sack. And
I heard a rumor that you guys got a penalty that knocked you out of field goal range for using a towel to dry the field. Is that true?
I don't know if that was true, but it sounds right to me. I mean, we get penalties for the stupidest things, just, like the Lions do. The Lions just get it more than we do. But yeah, I wouldn't put it past them. But hey, we came out. The Bears came out strong. So
Yeah, Bears win it 19-10. I was really surprised. A lot of people have the Niners as sort of a dark horse potential Super Bowl contender, and I'm not there with them. Just they might have the best backup quarterback in the league with Jimmy Garoppolo's new deal, but Trey Lance has been really up and down, and I think that's going to define their season. I think it's going to be up and down.
But now the Bears fan base tore Justin Fields apart the entire game. So, the Bears fan base tore Justin Fields apart for his performance throughout the
Well, how was the O-line? Because that's the huge question is, can Justin Fields survive behind that O-line?
Yeah, I would have to actually look at what the O-line actually did, but probably what I saw in the preseason, it was pretty bad.
Yeah, that's what we all saw. And, as a Lions fan, that makes me reasonably happy, but not as happy as this Minnesota Green Bay game. So before we break that one down just a little bit, you have any thoughts on that one there, Val?
That was the blessing of the week. That game was fantastic to watch Aaron Rodgers get smoked. I mean, literally smoked. Ran over, bulldozed, back that truck up and do it again. It was beautiful to watch. It was beautiful to watch him cry on the sidelines. It was
he looked mad. He looked so upset.
And all he's going to do this week is whine about his receivers or whatever, like he did before. So, I mean, I don't care. Let them have that wine with their cheese. I don't care, because that was the blessing for the NFC North.
Yeah, it was. And Val, you and I were actually talking yesterday, talking about this game. And at the time, Elgton Jenkins and David Bakhtiari still weren't in for the O-line. It looked like they weren't going to play. And then, of course, Minnesota, snaked, what's his name? Zadarius Smith. And they already had Danielle Hunter. And I really thought there was a possibility, because when Smith left Green Bay, it wasn't on the best terms. He really wanted to come back and kick their butts. And they did. They pressured Aaron Rodgers all day. And even the 4-time MVP, who, by the way, is the inspiration for my YouTube name, because as long as he's king of the division, everyone in the NFC North is living in douchebagia. Even he could not make this group of ragtag new receivers look good. And it was so nice. And it wasn't even just that. It was the stout Minnesota defense that really shut down the run game. Unfortunately, I have Aaron Jones on my fantasy team, but I'll take the L. I'm happy to take the L if it means that Green Bay can't establish a run game. Vikings looked great. And even though they're in our division, obviously can't root for them or anything, they are really good. They have great offensive weapons, but they're not very deep. All it would take for another team, like maybe the Lions, if we turn it on, to challenge those top two teams is for Minnesota to suffer some injuries, which I'm not rooting for, because I don't root for injuries. I'm just saying, given how these two teams look today, it could happen. And given how the Lions look today, it could happen. This team looked much better than I thought they were going to.
But then again, now it was interesting that the Vikings came out strong against the Packers week 1. But the Vikings typically come out strong anyway in their season and fall apart towards the end. So that's what I'm looking forward to happening with them.
It may happen, but that was really, I feel like, similar to the Lions, the same old Lions mentality. There's a same old Vikings mentality. Mike Zimmer's gone. Kevin O'Connell's a different animal. This is a different offensive scheme. It's a different culture. It's a different team. They actually have a head coach who likes their quarterback. I mean, Mike Zimmer was outwardly disdainful of Kirk Cousins. It's hard to play well under those
Isn't everybody outwardly disdainful of Kirk Cousins? I mean, I watched him play college football and went, how did he make it to the NFL? I don't know, but still.
Yeah, he may be primed for a big year. I really hope not. Because if he's not, if they come apart at the seams, just opens the door for us. So that is what I'm hoping for. So we'll get to the Lions games. There's just 2 more games that haven't happened yet. We've got Bucks Cowgirls. They kick off in about 5 minutes. And a lot of people are saying this is a possible NFC championship preview. Maybe. I think the Cowgirls are one of the few teams this season that actually got worse in the offseason instead of better. However, the Bucks did as well, but it wasn't because of offseason moves. It's because of injury right now. I still think the Bucks take it, though. Even though, where are they playing? Oh, they're playing in Dallas. Oh, I really hope the Bucks win this game. I live right outside Tampa. They are technically my home team. Go Bucks. I really want them to win.
Yeah,
Then,
I'm gonna go Bucks with this one.
Yeah,
as a prediction.
I hate the Cowgirls, man. I know I'm supposed to hate the NFC North teams, and I do, but Cowgirls are number one for me. I just can't stand them. Tomorrow night, Monday Night Football, we have Russell Wilson taking on his old team, Denver Broncos, Seahawks in Seattle. I don't think it shouldn't be much of a game. Denver should run away with it, but Val, you and I were just talking about it before we went live here. Big questions with Denver because Russell Wilson completely changes the equation. What is he gonna look like with a Denver team that has a first-year head coach in Nathaniel Hackett from the Packers? They're going to be offensive-minded, you would think, but they could come apart and end up last in that division, or they could win it all. I have no idea. I don't know what Denver's going to look like.
It's going to depend on what Russell Wilson, how much gas he's still got in his tank. But as for me, I want to see the Seahawks win because that was my late husband Jim's secondary team. That's where he was born. Was in Washington. So therefore, let's have the Seahawks take that one just for him. But
that's a legitimate reason. And I would love to see him pull it off because it would certainly be a big upset. But there was one other game that happened this Sunday. Our beloved Detroit Lions took on the bleeding green Philadelphia Eagles. Oh boy, there's a lot to unpack here. We basically played like a half a season of football in one game. So much happened in this game. So Val, first impressions, just things that stuck out to you?
To be honest, I thought that overall that the Lions came out strong on both sides of the ball. They did well for what it was against the Eagles. Now I paid attention to a lot of the fan base that now wants to, throw Goff under the bus and, throw the team away and,
Hold on. You know what? I had people here. I didn't get to see what the fan base was saying after the game. After this game, we have people that want to throw Goff out?
Yes. Yeah. That it's settled for them that Goff is trash because of his. And I'm like, look, y'all, did you actually see that there were 5, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dropped passes from wide receivers that should know better? That we count on to be, to catch the ball that were right there in their freaking fingertips. It's not all on Goff. Now, Goff did throw that pick 6, but, and I have to say, dude, remember, Slay is not on our team no more, so don't throw to him. But,
I know exactly the play you're talking about. I was like, who's even over there? And then I see Chark like 6 feet away. And it was like, no, he was throwing it to Darius Slay because Darius Slay was 2 feet away. Yeah. That wasn't the best
Lions
decision.
Rumble was telling me that there was 16 total drops. I've heard 5, but maybe there were more. But
I think there were 5 players who had drops.
5 players who had drops. Okay.
Maybe.
I don't know. Even so, that makes it even worse. 16 drops. Yeah. That just makes the point that the wide receiver core. Where was this badass wide receiver core that we were hearing about in preseason?
Yeah.
Where did they go? Shark went do with the ball, and and you had Hawk who just ran the wrong way.
He came through when we needed him.
Yeah,
I mean, it didn't end up being enough, but he came through.
And the sun god, he drops, but he redeems himself later on. But
that one surprised me. He's not known to be a dropper, and he prides himself on getting on that jugs machine every day after practice, doing extra stuff and 1,000 times a day in the off season just to make sure his hands are really solid. I was really surprised to hear his name and the word drop so closely associated so many times today.
Yeah, and the other surprising thing I heard from the fan base today was Hutchinson is a bust.
Oh, come on. Yeah,
Really?
listen, he didn't have a spectacular day. They played him all up and down the D line, though.
Now
They
wait.
put him all
Now
over.
here's where
He had 2 assists, I think, on the day,
here's
which isn't a
here's
great
where
thing.
my inner Medea comes out with this one, because you've had Akuda for what? How many years? Do absolutely freaking nothing. I've called him a bust from day one. Oh no, you can't call him a bust. You got to give him a chance. You got to give him a chance. You gotta, he's got, it's going to take time. You got to let him play. And you're going to call Hutchinson a bust game one? Are you freaking out of your damn mind? What kind of stuff are you smoking tonight?
I am so thrilled that we were on Hard Knocks. It was a wonderful look inside the team. But I think the amount of Kool-Aid that started flowing because of Hard Knocks has got some people confused about what this team is and who some of these players are. I mean, a rookie is still a rookie, and you got to give them time to acclimate. You know, some of the expectations, it's not the entire fan base, but there is a contingent of Lions fandom that has unreasonable expectations. And I'm sorry, if you're one of those people, you're going to be really disappointed this season, because they are a better team. They are going in the right direction. I had them going 7-9 this season, somewhere in that range. Honestly, after seeing them today, I'm thinking the higher end of that range.
And
I'm thinking 8-10.
And if you want to throw the whole team away over a 3-point loss, when last year you got your butt handed to this team by what, 44? It was 44-6. Now, granted, it wasn't the same team. We talked about it earlier before the show started, and it wasn't the same team. But still, this is a major improvement. This is only week 1. This was a tough game to go up against in the first place, and they came out and they did well on both sides of the ball. Were there problems? Are there things that need to be addressed? Sure there are. The defense gave up 38 points or whatever it was. So, there's things that you got to deal with. But overall, they stood toe-to-toe against a really tough team.
Yeah, and it's not only that. There are only a couple games this season, maybe 3 or 4, where on paper the matchup is so lopsided. And this was one of them. And one of the reasons is they picked up A.J. Brown. So all of a sudden, this running quarterback, this RPO offense, now he has a reliable receiver. I mean, he's kind of a Megatron kind of guy where you have nowhere to go, throw it to that guy. He'll go up and get it. And he did. He burned us for, I think it was, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I think it was 10 catches for 155 yards and a touchdown. Now, granted, it's not really a 15.5 per reception average, because he had like a 50-yard run at one point. But there was that, and then the most lopsided of all is the defense. They added 6 new pieces to their defense. Their defense is really good, and ours is pretty sketchy. I was so impressed.
The secondary is sketchy. The secondary is sketchy. Akuda did screw up one play. I mean, he did well throughout the rest of it. Enough.
I thought he pulled his weight today. I thought he did exactly
what
he needs to do.
There was one play where he blew his coverage on the guy, but other than that, he did okay. Now, Tracy Walker, stepped up and delivered a surprising game to me. I've been giving that boy some some stuff. I don't really like Tracy Walker that much as a safety, but he proved his own in that game. So
he was surprising in a number of ways. So in case anybody missed it, Jalen Hurts was acting as a runner, and Tracy Walker took him down. It was a shoulder to the helmet kind of thing. And then, Val, what happened after that? He stood up, and an Eagles player got in his face, and he got back.
I saw was they got up, and the Eagles player went after him, shoved him. Walker shoved him back. They were kind of getting ready to brawl. The referees broke it up. So he already got a flag for a late hit.
Okay.
Then he got another flag for the unsportsmanlike. It was unsportsmanlike conduct or something
No,
like
they were
that.
both personal fouls,
Or
and that's, I
personal
think, where
foul.
this could get controversial. Is it just the way the refs called it on the field? Because when Dean Blandino was explaining it, he explained 2 unnecessary roughness penalties could then allow the refs to at least make a discretionary call of whether or not a player's allowed to stay in the game or if they're going to be ejected. They didn't call unnecessary roughness. Now, they ejected him anyway. They made that call because it was 2 penalties right in a row. And their explanation for it, I guess, was that the personal fouls were because there was unnecessary roughness, but that's not what they said.
No,
So
that's
this
not what
could
they
be a little
said.
bit controversial.
It was weak. It was a controversial call to me. And the fact that they didn't even address what the Eagles did and give
Right.
any penalty on that side irritated the daylights out of me. Because that was
Even with that,
unnecessary.
even with that though, Tracy Walker led the Lions in tackles today. He had 8 tackles, I think 2 or 3 assists. I think it was 3 assists and a sack. He balled out today on defense. Good for him.
What surprised me was Goff, though. Did you that in that one play where somebody went after Goff and got him, and he got up and
mad.
he got mad and he went after him and he was jawing at him the whole time. Yeah. And I was in the Lions Nation Unite chat going, go kick his ass, go kick his ass.
You know, and the whole O-line came to his defense. I mean, you got to protect your quarterback. Yeah, that was
right.
Great.
It was beautiful. That was beautiful to see Goff go to step up and show some
some emotion. He's so vanilla all the time. You want to see that fire from him. I thought it was great.
Yeah, that was beautiful. Yeah.
And listen, in response to all the people who are already calling for Goff's head after week 1 game where we hung in with a really, really good team. Okay, I'll give you, he didn't set the world on fire. Like if they had to make a decision right now, is he going to be the quarterback of the future? Yeah, that's a resounding no, because he does really need to set the world on fire if he wants to maintain his position here on this team. He didn't do that, but was he horrible? I mean, he wasn't awful. He was 21 for 37, 215 yards, 2 TDs and an interception. I mean, it certainly wasn't his worst game.
But yeah, you got to give him some props. He did a lot of good things. If he would have had that pick 6, I think that, he would have had a much better show out. That pick 6 kind of like, we don't want to see that.
Scrambled. He scrambled for a first down.
Yeah, he scrambled. Yeah, there was Lions fans in the chat like, whoa, he's got wheels? Who knew? So yeah, So it's like, and that's a slap in the face to all of those the fan base that wants to say, well, we need to get a mobile quarterback. Well, look, he showed some mobility, didn't he?
He did. Not sure I'd call him a mobile quarterback yet. And it was kind of funny because while I love the fact that he did it and it proves he can do it, we were playing a mobile quarterback and the comparison between the two wasn't particularly flattering for Goff's running ability.
Hey, you got to give Goff some props.
I gave him credit,
man.
I gave him credit.
He stepped out of his comfort zone and actually did the thing. Okay, so
and it wasn't for nothing either. I mean, we got a first down out of him, so yeah, that's good.
So let's see more of that. Let's see a little bit more of that. Going forward.
Yeah. I mean, overall, I thought Detroit sort of outworked Philly the entire time. Those 2 middle quarters, the second and third quarters. Yeah, I mean, 3 and out. It was getting a little frustrating. But for all the ugliness, and there were some flashes of ugliness, there were some really, really good things too. DeAndre Swift, please don't get injured. Please don't get injured because he's the real deal. He had a phenomenal game.
Yeah, and I think a lot of what also did the Lions in was the coaching staff seemed to change the way that they were calling the plays. They started out with the run game and then just gave up on it for a while.
Yeah, I think for me, play calling wise, the most questionable thing was toward the end. We were down by quite a bit. And I'm glad they're trying to establish the run game. But at that point, when you're down by at least 2 scores, I felt like they needed to pass it more. Um, but I mean, overall, listen, this is Ben Johnson's first game. And I couldn't tell. There was a question. I can't remember what I was on. Someone was streaming the game. And in their chat, somebody said it looked like after the first quarter, maybe he pulled Ben Johnson because we went down. We had that beautiful first drive and scored. Then we went 3 and out 3 times in a row. And all of a sudden, they went down to the sideline, panned down, and you have Dan Campbell, and Ben Johnson was kind of standing back behind him like this with his eyes down on the ground, looking surly. And there was a question of whether or not temporarily Dan Campbell may have taken over play calling duties.
I think he did, because it looked a lot like Dan Campbell play calling there for a while, which I was hoping not to see, because Dan Campbell does not do well with the play calling. I'm sorry, he doesn't. So I was hoping that he would stay out of it, but I suspected that he would step in, and I think he did. We can't prove it. There's no evidence that I saw that he actually did, but we might find that out later. But yeah, there were some questions in that game, as far as, especially there towards the end.
Yeah. And I want to say something about Hutchinson, because what'd you say everyone was saying about Hutchinson? They're already ready to cut him off the team.
He's a bust. They're saying he's a bust. One game, he's a bust. One game, even though he balled out. I think he made one mistake. So come on.
Yeah. He didn't have a bad game. He didn't have a great game. I mean, obviously, if you're in his position, you want to come in and really make your mark. You want to get credit for that sack or that tackle for loss. And like I said, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I think he finished the game with 2 assists, which is not, it's not what he wants to do. It's certainly not an indictment on his playing ability. And I do have to say, I actually took notes as I was watching this game. And 2 different times in my notes, I wrote, Hutch looks gassed. One of the times was on the sideline. The defense was still on the field, and he came out. They substituted someone in, and he looked like he was huffing and puffing, trying to catch his breath. And there was another time where I felt like that was going on in the game. And, welcome to the NFL, rookie. Like, that's what you have to experience. It's not the same as college.
And I think where that came in was he was so, the pressure is so much on him to be the superstar, that he came out with because you could see it in the first drive. They all came out with guns blazing, and I was sitting there going, calm down, guys. Calm down. Don't rush it. Because when they started rushing it and they made those mistakes that forced them backwards, it's like, calm down. And I think Hutch was trying to overdo it in that game, because to try to prove to all the fan base that, he's the guy. He was overperforming.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, there was a lot of pressure on him, a lot of expectations. He is still a rookie, and he's still going to be a playmaker. But yeah, the expectations that were placed on him coming into his first year in the NFL are a little over the top.
Now, there were a couple of guys that, that don't get their names called out very often, but one did really well and one did really bad for me. Mike Hughes did very well in this game.
I heard his name come up a couple times.
Yeah,
he made some tackles.
He was doing some good stuff out in the field, and then Logan Stenberg.
Oh my gosh, the 2 false start penalties in a row, and they were both on the poor backup. Oh, that was a little.
And
rough.
what, you've been in the league how long? And you're making? Come on, dude.
Yeah, a little overexcited, but that was, besides those 2 penalties, that was that first beautiful drive. The rest of the drive was really, really good. I did feel bad for the guy, though. Twice in a row. That's a little rough.
Yeah, and then he really didn't show up too much throughout the rest of the game, though, really. So, I mean, Not
there
for
were
his.
a couple missed blocks. Panay Sewell missed a couple blocks. And listen, it's
Yeah.
hard. I didn't get a chance to go back. Normally I would want to rewatch the game before we really deep dive it. And I didn't get a chance to do that tonight. And when it's going in real time, I can't watch every area of the field. But I saw at least 3 occasions where they got pretty easily around Panay Sewell, just didn't plant his feet. I mean,
Yeah,
it happens. He's still young
Sewell
too.
got
It's his
beat.
second year.
Sewell got beat a few.
He's fine. I'm not
Mhm.
worried about Sewell. It's his second year. He's been coming along just fine.
Yeah, and that's a position that takes a while to develop anyway. So I
Yeah.
mean, and he had it rough. Who did what was it? They put up Will Harris against AJ or something.
Oh my
Why?
gosh. Oh,
Why?
he got
Why?
embarrassingly burned.
Why did they put Will Harris up against this guy?
I think, as far as I remember, they only did it once because once
No,
was
they did it.
enough.
I know they did it twice.
Did they?
Yeah.
Yeah, Will Harris, man. But they put he was playing corner, right?
Yeah.
He was playing that right side corner?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. It was man coverage. I'm trying to remember the play.
Yeah,
There
and
was
he
one
got-
play where he just got beat. It was ugly.
Yeah, that was just like, yeah. And where was Chase Lucas in this game? I mean,
Wow, I completely forgot about him because I don't remember hearing his name at all. Was he out there?
His name
Can
was
someone in the chat tell us if he was out there?
No one said his name the whole time that I heard.
I didn't hear his name once. No,
I did not hear his name once, and I'm like, I thought you were Mr. Excellent. You had that feeling you gonna be great and all this stuff. Come on now, where are you? I mean, there were players.
He's a young late round draft pick, Val. It's week 1.
I know. I'm playing with him. I'm not actually, I'm just picking on him because the coach set him straight and put him in realistic and said, hey, we ain't saying all that because he knows better. Okay. But, guys, hey, you want guys to have that attitude. That's the attitude you want them to have. But that doesn't mean that they're always matching up to that attitude. So.
Not yet. Give him some time. So I did have 3 players that really caught my attention. 2 of them for good reasons, 1 not so much. One we already talked about.
Oh, wait. Micro Mike says he was inactive.
Okay. So, that's why we didn't hear his name. Why was he inactive? Was he injured? Or why was he inactive?
Why was he inactive, Micro Mike?
Okay, so we already talked about Okudah. He had a really good day. He had 7 tackles and 3 assists. And this was really, again, didn't set the world on fire, but this was the kind of game he needed to have first time back. The other guy was Alex Anzaloni. Every time I saw him out there, he was doing something good. Now, I know there were a few missed tackles, but he had 7 tackles and 2 assists today.
Not always, because I remember him blowing a play pretty badly.
Yes, there were a couple misses, but look, I have really low expectations.
I love how you put it. There were a couple misses. Yeah.
Yeah.
Putting that Kool-Aid spin, there were a couple misses, but yeah.
But there were a lot of non-misses. He made a lot of good plays today. So the other guy I wasn't impressed with was Derek Barnes. And again, it was just, I don't think I heard his name all day. Maybe he was inactive too. I'm pretty sure he was on the field. I just don't recall him doing anything great. And he's someone I have my eye on because Hard Knocks showed us they want to green dot him. They want him to be a leader on this offense. And if that's the role they envision for him in the future, dude needs to step up.
Yeah. Yeah. Anzaloni had that terrible penalty. So, yeah. So, but yeah. And I wanted Barnes to step up too because that's Jim's guy, So it was just like, come on, there were names I wanted to see step up and actually have them heard and actually have them, doing something to make their name known, and it just didn't happen.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I mean, the only other big takeaway I had was the NASCAR packages on defense. And maybe I just wasn't paying close enough attention in preseason, but 4 defensive ends on the line, and it was effective. Like all the time. It was Hutch, Brian.
It was not because it wasn't.
They got
No, it
great
wasn't.
pressure on him. They got pressure on Jalen Hurts
No,
almost
it
every
wasn't,
time they
because I
lined up that
remember a
way.
play. I remember a play where it blew up, and it actually the Eagles ran right over them for a touchdown. And I went in the chat and went, the NASCAR package hit the wall and set themselves on
No,
fire.
I
Yes, they did.
completely disagree. The
Yes, I
problem that we
remember that
had,
moment. I remember
the
that
problem we
moment.
had was around the perimeter with Jalen Hurts rushing. But they got it. I was watching the pressure. I wanted to see how much trouble he was in. And it was play after play after play. And sometimes he had to throw it away. Sometimes he heaved it. And someone actually got it because they have AJ Brown now. But yeah, and he ran. I mean, we knew we weren't going to be able to stop the run completely. I was really impressed at the defensive scheme because listen, low expectations for this defense, right? They're supposed to be awful. It was
Why
supposed to
are
be a
we supposed to
huge
be?
mismatch.
Why are we
And we
supposed to
only
be
lost by
having
3
low
points.
expectations for them? Because we have all the linebackers we need. So, and we have the safeties we need. So there should be no low expectations.
Uh-huh. You going somewhere with that? Because we all know better than that.
Well, no, because the Lions fan base specifically told me that linebackers are not important. So I'm not giving that one up. And number two, we don't need safeties because we got Tracy Walker. Well, Tracy Walker did perform, but still, you had the defense. That defense was fine. You didn't need to address it. It was fine. It was fine. It was all good. So, no low expectations there. No,
Yeah,
no, 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 no.
that defense is not fine. However, they put up 38 points on us, but I still thought they played a lot better than I thought they were going to. I was kind of impressed with the defense today. Gotta say.
They actually did better. They actually did some things. Now, if they get rid of Anzaloni, they'll be better. If
I liked him today. Props to Anzaloni. I thought he had a good day.
Now, no, he didn't, because he had that stupid penalty. And then
yes, lots of people get penalties. That doesn't mean it blows up their whole game.
No, people get penalties, and then there's dumb penalties. Okay, that was a dumb penalty. That was a Logan Stenberg penalty. Okay. Okay, that's the penalty. You're not supposed to have a penalty. Okay, so that's not acceptable at all to me whatsoever. So and then we have the blind ballerinas in the background. It's just, but they still
we knew that. We knew the secondary was trash. We knew it.
But to me, if I was going to say what was the most disappointing position for the game, would be the wide receivers.
I would agree. I mean, for you, is it just because of the drops?
The drops, they didn't show up. There was nothing. There was so many mistakes, drops. They were non-existent as a force in this game.
Yeah, and watching it a couple times, sometimes it was on the receivers' inability to get separation, inability to kind of knock a defender off his spot. I think a lot of it was Goff, because there was some very questionable throws by Goff today.
Now, Goff had some questionable throws, but you honestly can't have it in your hands going do and drop it.
No doubt.
And
no doubt. That's true.
And you can't run the wrong route when it's clearly when everybody in the world can see where this ball is going to.
We don't know who that's on, though. Was that on one of them? Was it a miscommunication?
That was on Hawk, because Hawk got his butt chewed out on the sidelines afterwards for doing the wrong thing. Yeah, Hawk got chewed the heck out on the sidelines.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm looking through my notes right now. Unnecessary roughness on Anzaloni. Okay, we're going to talk about this because you and I started talking about it before we were streaming. And it came up Thursday night because of Josh Allen. If you are a running quarterback in this RPO style offensive system and you decide to become a runner, you should be able to be hit like a runner. The fact that they're going to throw roughing the passer penalties, the other problem is you don't know if they're going to slide, right? So Josh Allen, as an example, and I didn't see it as much with Jalen Hurts, but Josh Allen in particular, he doesn't slide all that often. He waits till he gets hit. So that signals to these defenders that they need to take him down. If you think a guy's going to slide, they kind of back off because they don't want to take the penalty by accidentally hitting him. Alex Anzaloni's unnecessary roughness was on Jalen Hurts when he was running. And those penalties just rubbed me the wrong way. I didn't think it was unnecessary roughness. And if I remember correctly, Anzaloni went up to the ref right after he drew the flag and was like, what am I supposed to do with him then? Like, he was running the ball. I had to hit him. So I don't know if that one was quite as bad.
There were a lot of things that were questionable as far as the refs and how the refs handled the game.
Yeah. So that's every game though, every season. I mean, that's always going to happen.
So it's like you expected that out of the expectations for what the refs were, met those expectations were met in this game. So
just like the teams too, I feel like the refs need a couple weeks to kind of figure it out. It's a fast game. It's hard to see everything. They need practice too. It's only week 1 for the refs.
Okay, so Dr. Detroit is asking Luke G, but we might as well raise this as a question. So how do you feel about the decision to onside kick in the third?
Well, I didn't mind it at the time, but we know how it worked out. So in hindsight, it was the wrong call. It's kind of a Dan Campbell staple. We do that, trick plays and going for it on fourth.
Do you think Dan Campbell was the one that made that decision?
That's a good question. It seemed like a Dan Campbell kind of move.
Yeah, to me, it seemed like a Dan Campbell move over a Ben Johnson move. To me.
Yeah. I don't know. Was it necessary at the time? Not really. Obviously, we gave them great field position. They went down and scored. I don't know. At the time, I didn't mind it. After the fact, I thought it was stupid. But that's the benefit of hindsight.
Yeah, there were some moves there that I quite didn't get. Why they did what they did. But hey, it's only week 1 again, like we said. So they still got a lot of rough patches to deal with, especially since they haven't addressed some of their major holes that they could have addressed in the off season. So
they've addressed a lot though. And I do see improvement from this young defense. I feel much better about them than I did going into this game. I was really pessimistic. I think I predicted 38-27 Eagles. Got the Eagles right. They scored 38. So to my mind, where my expectations were, Lions overperformed. I saw a lot of good things in this game.
Mine was 27-24. So they actually did better than what I expected them to do too. So overall, I mean, it wasn't really that bad. So it's just that we really wanted to take the Eagles down as a statement, and that's what everybody was looking for. It's like, and this is what I was talking about before. Everybody got hyped about Hard Knocks. So Hard Knocks was great PR, but unless the product matches the PR, you got a problem.
Yeah, I think that's true. I actually think Hard Knocks, exactly like you said, it was a great recruiting tool, great inside look, but let's leave it at that, because the way they edit it, it really doesn't give you any genuine insight as to where the team is, especially in relation to the rest of the NFL.
I think it did a pretty good job of actually revealing that, of where they are.
I was more optimistic about the Lions until this past week, because this past week I started looking at the Eagles because we were playing them, and I started looking around the league, and this idea sort of came into my head that there's Lions good and there's NFL good. And I wasn't sure, I was thinking the Lions were good. And then I realized, yeah, they're Lions good. I'm not sure if they're NFL good. So they actually impressed me today. And there are no moral victories in football. I know that. But if there were, this would be a candidate for a moral victory. After the way we got embarrassed last year, I was pretty pleased with this game.
Yeah, I believe that it reflected where the Lions are at this point. It's not necessarily that they're, it's where they're at. So they did what I expected them to do. It didn't really change too much of my opinion about them. I didn't overhype it for me. It didn't like, oh no, now I'm scared. It to me, it realistically set them to where that first episode was way too much overhype. That first episode was way overhyped. I can admit to that.
Speaking of Hard Knocks overhype, Rodrigo flashed today a couple times. He didn't have a horrible day for a 6th-round rookie in his first NFL game.
No, he did pretty good. And thank God he wasn't in his cowboy outfits, but
Oh, I was kind of hoping we'd see it like post game or something, but
the dances in the end zone were great, so that was fun too today. So that was funny. But
yeah, Dan Campbell made a point in his post game presser that we made a lot of mistakes and we have a lot to clean up, but the Eagles didn't make a ton of mistakes. Their guys didn't have a lot of drops. They didn't turn the ball over. They actually played execution-wise a pretty clean game. And on paper, they are the much better team. And we still came within 3 points of beating them. I think it was a good showing for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. PC Palo says he thought that Rodriguez had a really good game for a rookie. Yeah. And Michael Hook is like, this is only year 2 of the rebuild after stripping the team down. We're on the right track. And I agree with that. I mean, it was so close, and that's the warning I was trying to give Lions fans ahead of time. Don't get yourself overhyped. Be realistic about where this team is actually at. They're not bad. They're not elite, but as long as we can see some improvement going forward, and cross our fingers, all things go well, you can see them in the wild card spot. You can see them in, as a possible playoff contention, depending on how they, and how
this year.
Progress. Yes.
Really? You think they are potential wild card contenders this year?
I said it way at the beginning of the offseason, before the draft. That this year they would have the potential to wildcard spot it, simply because Minnesota will typically fall apart. Green Bay, I believe, is falling apart this year. Okay, but can Aaron Rodgers pull rabbits out of his rear end towards the end of the season? Yes, he will. Okay, so I don't think that this is the end of Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. Okay, right now. Okay.
No, and they're going to get their offensive lineman back. And then all of a sudden, Aaron Rodgers is going to have time to throw again. Things will get better.
Whoever the Packers play next week, that team better just pray to be ready, because Aaron Rodgers is going to take out all his anger on this team. I don't know who they play, but I don't want to be. Oh wait,
the look on his face on the sideline made my day. Wait. Do they play the Bears next week? Hold on. Do they play the Bears?
My brain just clicked.
Tell me they play the Bears.
They play the Bears.
They do play the Bears. Uh-oh, Val.
So guess who's going to get owned next week?
Pretty sure he already owned you. No offense. That's what he said.
So thanks, guys. Yeah. Thanks, the Vikings. Yeah.
Whoops.
I think we play them at Green Bay, don't we?
You do, yeah.
Oh no.
Oh, come on. That's probably better for you. Your field is a dumpster fire.
No, it's not. Actually, we win more on our field.
I thought you were shoveling water off of it today.
Yeah, but
if memory serves.
We are so used to our horrible field that other teams are not used to our horrible field, and that's why the Bears can win.
So it's an advantage for you to have a shit field.
Yes.
I see. Okay.
So we go to Green Bay, we get slaughtered. So no, that's going to be. So do we want to address the discussion, or do you want to? Because we're getting close to our hour.
I know. I was just thinking that how we've kind of gone over. We only have about 5 minutes left, and that's not really a 5-minute conversation. Maybe we end just a little early this week and include it next week.
Okay.
For anyone who didn't see Micro Mike on Thursday, someone in the chat asked a loaded question about whether or not the NFL should have a female head coach. All the guys on the panel said, yep. And I said, no. And yeah, Val and I are going to have that debate, but we don't have time to do it tonight.
So we'll do it next week, depending on what happens next week. But
yeah,
but that's a very interesting discussion, because I think we discussed that for like 3 hours, y'all. So
yeah, it's not at all black and white. There are a lot of different dimensions.
Not black and white at all.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to give a shout out to everybody who's showed up tonight to show us some support. We had, let's see, let me go through and see who all showed up for us tonight. We had PC, who had the first comment of the show for our brand new show tonight. So
thanks, PC.
And then Paul Jazzy Jaros. Who else? I'm scrolling through you guys. Michael Hug, Lion Rumble, Dan Spanos, of course. He just, he was going to show up. Chrome. And let's see who else. Brian Stover. Lions Nation Unite actually showed up for us tonight. And Micro Mike. If I'm at Bruce Betterly. Let me see. Hatter's House. Sorry, you guys. Y'all talk too much in the chat, but I love it. Dr. Detroit, of course, the doctor. He's always in. And
can anyone in the chat give us a quick Bucks Cowgirls score update? I don't have a TV in front of me here.
Yeah, tell us what the Bucks. Well, let's end this up with who the Bucks Cowgirls update is. So let us know what's going on.
Who you got in this game? I know you're rooting for the Bucks, but who do you think wins this game, Val?
I'm hoping the Bucks, because
I know you're hoping the Bucks, but do you think it will be the Bucks?
82 Rio says it's, and Dan Spanos and Lions Rumble all say it's 6-3. 6-3 Bucks.
Okay. I don't feel very safe yet.
Yeah, I don't feel safe with that. I don't feel safe with that quite yet. And I guess Becky Hammond won an NBA championship with Golden State.
Okay, that's basketball. Basketball. Okay, great. So if it's not football or hockey or some UFC, I don't really know what it is. Sorry.
You know what? This whole channel is, or this whole show is about celebrating women and female fans. So even though it's basketball, hey, we support women.
Good for them.
Sports. Okay, except for in some positions, I guess, according to Lady Lionor, we can't have ladies in certain positions in the NFL.
Listen, it's not an absolute, but hey, at least hear me out first before calling me out.
Okay, so we're gonna get in that discussion next week. You guys
next time. So, hold on, real quick before we wrap it up. I was just wondering who you got as a game ball candidate for this game. Who are you giving the game ball to?
I don't have a pick for that.
All right, mine's hands down DeAndre Swift. That's the only reason I'm bringing it up.
For the Lions, the game ball.
Normally, it's between a couple people. This game for me, it was hands down Swift.
I could see Swift doing it. If not Swift, I would probably say, let me think about it a minute. Yeah, Swift stands out the most to me as far as him doing the most. But then, yeah, okay. I'll agree with the Swift thing, because I'm running through the rest of the guys going, nah.
All right, it's unanimous. Swift gets game ball.
All right, so we're giving Swift the game ball. So thank you guys for coming out and supporting the very first episode of Lioness Lair. We hope you come and join us next week, same time, same bad channel, you know it. And of course, check out the Detroit Lions on the Prowl tomorrow when the guys give their insights into what they saw today in the game, because their opinions are probably going to be a lot different than ours. So we'll see you next time. Have a good night, y'all.
One Pride, baby. See y'all next week.